Hi, it's Mark from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with Bernie Pawlik of Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver. How are you doing today, Bernie?
I'm doing very well.
So Happy New Year. We're entering 2016, and I guess today we're talking about Range Rovers and sway bars. What's going on with Range Rover sway bars?
Well, what's going on with Range Rover sway bars is that they're excessively complicated, like a lot of things found on Range Rovers. Most cars have the sway bar is basically a bar that connects one side of the vehicle to the other on each wheel on each axle is connected to reduce vehicle body roll. And on the Range Rover, like most cars, it's just a big steel bar with a couple of connector links. But on the Range Rover, they have the bar with the connector links, but there's a very complicated piece in the middle. So that's what we're talking about today.
So what happened with this piece in the middle?
Well, basically, it developed a leak. It's a hydraulic system. What happened, the vehicle was brought to us, there's a warning light on the dash for the anti-roll system, which is another word for the sway bar, anti-roll, anti-sway bar. There's a warning light on the dash, did some diagnosis, found there's a fluid reservoir under the hood. We found the fluid was low and diagnosed it, found a leak at the rear sway bar unit. Now what this is basically a hydraulic coupling unit that joins the sway bar is basically broken into two pieces, and there's a hydraulic unit in the middle that couples or decouples the unit at various rates depending on what needs to be done. We can get a couple of pictures going here. I can, a second here, we'll just get the pictures up. Technology will allow me. There we go. Okay, so we should be looking at a picture of that's the complete sway bar removed from the vehicle, and the actual metal bar itself is typical of most sway bars of any that you'll find on any car, light truck. But the unit in the middle, that big round cylinder with a few bits of fluid around it, that's the hydraulic unit. It's you can see fluid around it. Some of it spilled out when we removed the unit, but most of the fluid that's on there is from a leak from a seal. Now, unfortunately, you can't just replace or repair this unit. You have to buy the whole bar, which is kind of something typical that you find a lot of these vehicles. You have to buy the whole bar. It's a complete assembly, and it is very expensive. And they have one on the front and one on the rear. So we'll just hide the sharing from this for a minute.
So what was the thinking behind this? Did this give them some better kind of independent wheel control in kind of high off-road, going over big obstacles off-road or something?
That's exactly why they do it. There's two reasons. One is, the sway bar is kind of a dumb piece of equipment. It's just a mechanical rod. So depending on whether you're going 1 mile an hour or 100 miles an hour, it still works the same way. So having some control over it affects the vehicle handling when you're driving down the highway or down a road and you're going around a curve or a corner. You can add some control. But yeah, as you alluded to, the biggest reason they do that is for off-road usage. Because if you can decouple the sway bar, all of a sudden each wheel becomes a completely independent unit. And so if you go over a big pothole or a huge rock, that wheel can move completely separate from the others. Range Rovers are kind of neat. They have a dial on the console where you can program in different road conditions. So for instance, if you're going down a really steep hill, you can just turn the dial and it'll adjust the differentials and the transfer case and the suspension system for steep hills. Or if you're on sand and snow, it has a program for that. Logging roads, gravel roads, it has a program for that as well. So it kind of takes care of a lot of things. But that's exactly why they do it.
So the downside, though, is that it makes for a very complex system that wears out perhaps prematurely or expensively. Is that right?
Yeah, and this Land Rover is a 2015, only 5 years old, and I can't remember the kilometers on the car now, but it wasn't a lot. It was between the 50 to 100,000 kilometer range, so not really high. We don't repair a lot of these, but we do see them from time to time. So and anytime you add something to a vehicle, it adds complexity and another thing to go wrong. Just hope if it's your vehicle, it never does.
Other than that, Land Rovers are pretty good vehicles.
Oh, they're awesome. They are really, really really awesome vehicles. And the other thing, you know, about them, I mean, 99% of people just drive them around the city or maybe up to Whistler and back around here. But they're, I mean, they are an amazingly capable off-road vehicle. But I can't blame anyone who buys one. I mean, if you're spending over $100,000 on a sport utility vehicle with gorgeous paint and beautiful mag wheels and low-profile tires, I don't think I'd want to risk scratching the vehicle or denting a wheel either. But if you do need to go off-road and you want to, it's certainly able to do it in style.
Great. So we've been talking with Bernie Pawlik, Pawlik Automotive. If you want to book your Land Rover or Range Rover in for a service, these are the guys to call, 604-327-7112, or check out their website, PollockAutomotive.com. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark. Talk to you again soon.